Greetings everyone, welcome back to my sketchbook. Every so often I run into some pretty interesting Hot Wheels cars, and just for fun, let's get a look at this. This is a Magic 8 ball. It doesn't have any fluid in it, but you know, you could kind of use this, I suppose, to help make decisions if that's what you'd like to do. I don't know. I'm going to set that there for a moment. Something else that I'm kind of into other than just doodling in my sketchbook, I've been playing the guitar since the 1980s, early 1980s really, and one of my favorites, which usually sits around in my living room, is this, which is an Ibanez Roadstar Series 2, and the color is kind of interesting, very similar to this magazine actually. So I have a lot of different guitar heroes. You got Zach here, who's awesome, Joe Satriani, who's also awesome, and anytime I can, I try to get physical copies of music because, well, in my vehicle, which plays CDs and stuff, that's where I like to listen to albums from start to finish. You can do that digitally, of course. Now, this is an older album. I got it when it was new quite some time ago. This is Joe Satriani's Time Machine, and it is fantastic. Now, Joe Satriani has been touring around for a while, and I've seen him in concert. Look at that. You got Steve Vai there as well with Eric Johnson. This is part of the G3 concerts that these guys would do, and of course Malmsteen's also been involved. But Steve Vai is an interesting cat as well, and let me show you what that guy kind of looked like in the 80s and early 90s. This says February of 1990 here. Steve Vai was actually brought in to help finish an album for the band Whitesnake with this fellow. This is Adrian Vandenberg of Whitesnake as well. The album that he was brought in to finish, well, actually, let me leave that there, was this. And on this album is a song that I think is probably a successor to Led Zeppelin's Stairway to Heaven. It is called Sailing Ships. So if you get a chance, give that a listen, because it is awesome. It is phenomenal. But if you look at this guitar that this guy's holding on to here, because of him, a lot of us went out and got one of these ridiculous things. This is a 7-string Ibanez with a low profile Floyd Rose tremolo system. I broke a string on this, sadly, about a month and a half ago, and I didn't restring it. It has this super thin neck, some call it a wizard neck, and it's a different thing to play, that's for sure. Very unique sound that comes out of them as well. Now, when you pick up a magazine like this, especially of this time period, it doesn't take much to run into one of my other guitar heroes. This is Eddie Van Halen, of the band Van Halen, who we lost back in 2020. Pardon me. And of course, you'd have seen this guitar. This is pretty famous. This is the one he calls Frankie. And of course, he gave us this guitar, which is the Wolfgang, named after his son, which is pretty neat. And also here in my collection of guitar magazines, you get this picture with Eddie and Jimmy together. Now, Jimmy Page, of course, is part of the band Led Zeppelin, and phenomenal musician, composer, all that kind of stuff related to the guitar. Now, it's interesting when you think of Led Zeppelin and the influence that they have. And then you also see this guy, David Coverdale, and you think, can you imagine if these two got together and made music? Well, they did. Back in 1993, they produced this. And this is a remarkable album to just listen to from one end to the other. And it is, yeah. It's a little bit older now, of course, just like me. But for fun, we're going to do a tribute doodle to Jimmy Page. We'll see how this goes. So I thought I'd take, 6 minutes to ramble on about some of my influences. Now let's zoom in on this first. So, lock this down a little bit. And I'm not going to ramble on too much about Jimmy Page. You can very easily look up Jimmy Page yourself because of the internet. You don't have to suffer too much nowadays if you want to, find out things about anybody. Now, because this is just a sketch, I'm not going to go too silly with detail right away. I'm going to try to figure out where I want things placed, though. Of course, would it be easier to do this in pencil first? Yeah, oh, sure. Yeah, sure. Sure, it'd be way easier to do it in pencil first. But I don't want to, and that is fine. And I'm going to do this a little bit differently anyway. Maybe we can just back this out a little bit. See if it'll lock down again. Okay. Now something that he would be famous for, and if I were so crafty, I suppose, I would have references. But I mean, I kind of know this instrument to see it, especially. So I don't really need to look it up. Now it looks like a Gibson SG, although I think, well, of course it's a custom built thing. I'm trying to think what they called it though. It was like the EDS 1275, and I don't think I'm wrong when I say that. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It is a 12-string on the top and 6-string on the bottom, double neck guitar. And as I said, it's made to look like an SG. Same kind of guitar that Angus Young of AC/DC would play. Now, this isn't going to look exactly like it, of course. This is a freehand drawing. So I don't want people to be upset that I'm not using a reference or don't feel like using a reference. I think it's a humbucker for the 12-string, 2 of them, and double single coil tremolo styles down here, kind of with a floating bridge, maybe body through strings. fairly unique pick guard, of course, for a custom guitar. There's a switch up here. 4 knob, I think. I do believe, oh, again, I should have looked that up. Maybe I should have, no, it's sort of there, and I think it plugs in there. Anyway, that's funny. I think I did a little truss rod cover, which they would have, and of course it would say like Gibson there. That kind of look. Now, with the Jimmy drawing itself, I'm going to do this in a way that might follow with what he was kind of into in the 60s and 70s, and I don't know what he's into now. Let's try something. It's kind of freakish, don't you think? Anyway, so I'm modeling the look of this after a mythical creature. That's kind of funny. Again, perhaps I should have planned this out a little bit, but I kind of think that's funny. I had an idea when I sat down of what I was going to do, because I had to go gather up the magazines. But I didn't think it was going to quite look like that. So that's a satyr, which is a creature that has, like, you know, kind of attributes of a goat. That might be a little bit much. I don't know. That's funny. I'm just putting in the hair here kind of first. Now, not using the Loomis method. Nothing wrong if you do. Ooh, those eyes look kind of funny right now. I'm just going to kind of leave them a little bit dark. Now, the reason why I wanted to do something a little bit different, so Led Zeppelin, you might see pictures of, you know, associated with Swan Song. Let's see what it, well, it would look a little bit like Apollo or Icarus or a fallen angel picture. And, well, I'm not going to copy someone else's art. That's not really my thing anyway. So I'm kind of doing my own thing. So anyway, yeah. Right now I'm just going to take a moment to add in a little bit of detail to my sketch. but not too much detail. Again, because I don't have to. This is just an idea. Jimmy's still active in the music world, and yeah, still an awesome guitarist and orchestrator. The 70s were kind of a wild time. He would have been famous, of course, as well as a session musician. And you can even find video of him, which I haven't seen in a little while, when he was a kid doing an interview playing some skiffle music or skiffle band, but he was talking about when he grew up that perhaps he would like to work on perhaps cures for cancer, or, you know, just kind of dreams. And little, I guess, did he know that he was going to be a guitar hero. So let's add a bit more fur lightly along with our satyr legs. Now this pen that I'm using, it's pretty good at detail, and it's what I often will pick up when I work on rough ideas. Now I have a variety of other pens that I use. This is my kind of my go-to workhorse. Again, I didn't really plan this out. This is just kind of funny. I had the idea kind of in my head. Okay, a little bit of the lower legs now. And not going too heavy right away. And much like a cat, goats' hind legs show that they kind of have like massive feet. That gives them special abilities and agility. Now I dip the pen. I'm just going to add a little bit of outlining there. And then I'm going to try to figure out if I can still do his symbol that he would have made up. So he's a pretty artsy guy, Jimmy Page, and yeah, Again, you can look him up. But he would have come up with like a symbol for himself. In fact, you can get one for each of the band members. Like Page's symbol is a word, whereas Robert Plant is like a circle with a feather in it. Anyway, so we'll give that a shot here in a moment. And then I'll let this come to an end. Won't let the video run too long. Yeah, off the top of my head, I can't recall when his birthday is. It'd be kind of funny to send a birthday card to him. I think he's probably close to 80 by now. Again, I didn't look it up. I don't remember right off. Just the last moments of detail stuff here, but not really necessary detail. Like, you know, I could have this plugged in. I could have a guitar strap. But anyway, I don't think it's necessary right now. And I know roughly that's what the guitar looks like. So I'll just add a little bit of more dimension to it. Be like a burgundy color as well. With a black pick guard. Okay. Well, I think that's probably enough for now. I don't think it needs to go any further than that. Up here, let's try move that over just a little bit. It's pretty messy looking. I think that's okay. Back over that just for fun. Now, see if I can get some part of this correct. I do believe it looks a little like this. Something like that. And I'll quickly go back over that again. Anyway, I think that is going to be it for now. And yeah, I do get a kick out of the legs of that. Well, I don't think we need to go any further. I hope you have a wonderful day, everyone, and see if we can back that out just a little bit more. Very interesting. All right, well, I hope you have a wonderful day, and hopefully we'll see you at some point in the near future. All right, ciao for now.